nation, and a million faces formed together, made for elevation. I'm a soldier, won't surrender faith. It's like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping in the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up. We're rising up, rising up. We're rising up. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance. You can't resist us. This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us.
And welcome everybody to another episode of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. I apologize that we were not here on Thursday, but we are here today. And it is a jam-packed episode today. So let's dive right on into it. For those of you who are new to the program, I am Joe Vollano. I am your host, your guiding light of what's going to be the next 2 years of complete friggin' chaos in this city, this state, and this country. But we are here to help get us through it. And of course, this show always works best when you are participating in it. And if you like to call in, 203-679-9610. And I hope a lot of people from the other side are listening to this show tonight and are willing to call in and let's have this debate on the CRB. Because that is going to be the talk of the town for the next at least 48 hours. Because apparently, miraculously, all talks are now done. They've had all the talks they need now with all the different people that they apparently needed to have talks with. But the funny thing is, no meetings were ever scheduled. None. If you don't want to call in, you could email us at straighttalkjv@gmail.com. Or, of course, if you are on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch, you can join in on the message board. I see everything here. I try to keep track of what you guys are talking about. But, again, the main topic of discussion is that CRB, the Civilian Review Board. You know, they didn't want to vote for this before the city races. Obviously, because they know it's very unpopular. And for all those people now that turn around to me as they were walking into to vote and said, oh, I support the police, I just don't support you guys. Well, you don't support the police then. Because I tried warning you. I tried warning every single voter as they were going in to help protect our police department. And apparently it fell on deaf ears. Because as far as they knew, Councilwoman Jelks wasn't bringing this forward. That apparently more discussions needed to be had. But amazingly, a week and a half after, in a lame duck session at that, because we have new counselors coming in, they're going to force this down our throats. So, like I said, miraculously, all discussions have now been had, which tends to make me believe that what I talked about for the last couple of weeks happened. The day after that election, I'm sure Sonia Jelks, cocky as shit, walked into the police department and said, hey, we're getting a CRB. We're going to get a CRB. Are you on board? And I hope he said no, which I'm sure he did. And they said, or as Chad Cardillo would say during his rant after he lost the election, they're going to ram it down our throats. Democrats are going to vote on it before he gets out of office. Now, Chad Cardillo is on his way out. He got voted out. Democrats really feel this is in the best interest of the city? That they're going to jam this down our throats when you have new counselors coming on, which they already know is against this? There should be a lot of people against this. Because again, this is only the first step. This is only the first step of what they really want. You think they really just want a review board? No. Remember, this city council has the power to give this civilian review board subpoena powers. It's in the legislation that was passed from the state. They have every right to do so. I don't think it's ego. I don't think this council is driven by ego. I don't think it's that at all. I think this council is so stuck in a mindset of this social justice bullshit that they believe is going on here in the city of Meriden. And it's not. It's absolutely not. But listen, they're taking the playbook right from New Haven. That's their goal. That is their goal. And like I said, if you know the head of the Civilian Review Board down in New Haven is Malik Jones's mother, who is the most anti-police police person in the country. Well, at least that I know of. With a budget of over $100,000. Do you think the city of Meriden could afford $100,000 for a Civilian Review Board? And I'm sure they're going to put people in there that are definitely questionable on whether or not they should be there. Good luck. Good luck, Mike. How do level-headed people get onto the CRB? They're going to be hand-picked. Now, the only saving grace that we have to this is that our mayor, Kevin Scarpati, has vowed to veto this. He's vowed to veto it. Now, what happens after that? Now they have 5 days after his veto to override it. And they would need 8 out of 12 to override. Now, if they waited to the 6th, it'd be an 8-4. They would need everybody. But I know there's some defectors in the Democratic ranks right now. There's some Democrats who are scared shitless of taking this vote. And they should be. Because it is going to seal their fate on whether you are for or against our police department. People like Bruce Fontanella, who again, please keep do me a favor, everybody. Please, please, please do not let David Lowell talk to Bruce Fontanella. Please. Do not, we gotta start tracking emails. We need to make sure that nobody talks to Bruce Fontanella. At least anyone that he respects. Because they'll tell him how to vote and he'll just freaking do it. He'll just do it. That's his leadership style. Don't let him anywhere near Sonia Jelks, definitely. Or LaRue Graham. LaRue Graham will make him cry to death. And he'll make him feel bad and he'll vote for it. So please, keep everybody away from Bruce Fontanella unless you're against this. And everybody does need to show up at this council meeting tomorrow night at 6:30. Because I tell you what, Sonia Jelks sent out an email. Oh, yes, indeed. Indeed. Crystal, listen, I'm hearing through the grapevine, Crystal Blake is against this. But will she be forced to do it if it comes down to that? Same thing with Bruce Fontanella. We're going to see where they stand on this. We're going to see if they have a backbone. Or are they like any other Democrat on the city council? Well, they would just do as they're told. That's going to be really, really interesting. Really interesting. But no, she said, so Sonia Jelks obviously sent out an email to all her supporters. And again, this isn't about, now this wasn't supposed to be about, she said, this isn't about race. This isn't about race at all. This is about accountability and transparency. But her email stated this: can you make sure that the racial justice group gets this important message about our civilian review board coming up for a vote on Monday? We could really use the support to ensure this legislation passes for the safety of all in policing matters and interactions. Thank you. She's reaching out to outside groups of the city of Meriden. She's reaching out to outside groups of the city of Meriden, trying to bring their asses in here to tell us how to run our friggin' city. Telling us what we need in our city. That's where she has gone. And if she thinks that other people are going to come into this friggin' city and dictate how we run things and how we do things, she is on friggin' crack. And like I said, this wasn't supposed to be about race, I thought. But she reached out to every racial social justice group to make sure they get here in Meriden tomorrow night. It is absolute madness what is going on and the new low that these Democrats are allowing to happen. And every single one of them, every single Democrat should vote against this on pure principle, at least on principle, that we have a new council taking effect December 6th. If you want to have this vote December 6th with the new council in place. But the reason why they're going to do it now is because they know they have some defectors. They have at least one defector. And they can't have any defectors. They need to make sure that Chad Cardillo is voting for this. And he is. He's on video somewhere. There's a video out there of Chad Cardillo going on a freaking rant, which I would love to get my hands on. Because he feels that us Republicans were lying when we were stating facts. And I was stating facts to his boyfriend. I was stating pure facts to his boyfriend and to the people going into the voting booth. And they were really pissed about it. When, like I said, a couple weeks during election time, Those people holding signs don't even know what they're holding signs for, or for the people they're holding signs for. They have absolutely no idea what's going on. And most of them didn't even live in the city. But they're so damn mind numb and dumb that they go up there and just go ahead and do as they're told. It's absolutely craziness. But like I said, elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. And here they are. We are tasting the first step of what is on their agenda. I said it back when they voted on this racism as a public health crisis, which was bullshit to begin with. I said, no, that's just the first step. Right now, they're going to turn around and say, oh, we just need the Civilian Review Board for accountability and transparency. Then they're going to get that. And then it's going to be, oh, well, it's not just for use of force now. Since there's too little of that, we got to give them something to do. We'll sit there and talk about, you know what? He talked bad to me. So therefore, we're gonna sit there and do that. We're going to now give them powers to do that. Or this one, you know, I was going back and looking at different issues going around not only the city and the state, but the country. And I was reading one in Chicago where they wanted to suspend an officer for 3 days because she shut off her body cam. Because when they raided a house, one of the ladies in there was naked. So she shut off her body cam to let the lady get dressed and then turned it back on in Chicago. And the Civilian Review Board requested 3 days suspension. That's where these things could go. This is the kind of things that, again, the officer had a real reason to shut it off and then turned it back on. But a Civilian Review Board, they don't understand these things. They will never understand those things. It's ridiculous. But this is where Meriden is heading. Not because we need it, but because you have people on the city council that are trying to make a name for themselves. They have gotten some praise from the NAACP, and they've gotten in here with their buddies and this and that. They're leaking information to the NAACP via blind CCs. You know, they're hip in the crowd now. Black Lives Matter is supporting them. Which I got clips of Black Lives Matter. I got clips of Black Lives Matter. There is a new mayor in the city of New York. And he's going to be tough on crime. And I'm going to play a couple of clips of what Black Lives Matter. See, people sit there and go, well, you always pick on Black Lives Matter. Why? Because I know the real Black Lives Matter group. I know who they are. I told you, I truly, truly, truly know liberals better than they know themselves. I really do. Because I know how they think. I know how they're going to react. And they did not disappoint. When told no, when they were told no by the new mayor of New York, what they said out in the public is breathtaking. Breathtaking. It's absolutely ridiculous. But this is what we're living with now. If we don't fight back against it, this is what we're living with. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what ethnicity. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It does not matter. It only matters to those who are trying to oppress you, who wants to keep you oppressed. And that is the far left. They need you to be oppressed. They need you to be relying on them. We have serious issues that are going to require some serious solutions. And it's going to take people to stand up and talk about things that people normally are feeling uncomfortable. And one of them is race. I have no problem talking about race. Obviously, if you've been watching this show for any amount of time, you know I don't mind talking about race. I don't mind talking about police, good and bad. We can have that conversation because that conversation is good and healthy for a society. But if you're going to come at me and tell me that police are bad, the white man is bad, and the system is systematically racist, well, you better come with some fucking facts because there are none to support that. I will not let you sit there and grandstand. You can call this number anytime you want. Anyone out there that is on the other side that feels I am being unjust or I am miscategorizing what you guys are doing, there it is, 203-679-9610. By all means, call me right now and we will have this discussion. There are so many problems within our inner cities that can be fixed when we work together. When we work together. White, black, Hispanic, anything. Doesn't matter. If we all work together, we can solve these problems. But what they're trying to do, and what Sonia Jelks is trying to do, and anyone who votes for this is helping her in that mission to divide us. To divide us. That is all they're trying to do. Isn't it amazing how Sonia Jelks said, we need to have more conversations. We need to have more conversations. But no friggin' conversations were had, and now they're going to vote for this right now. What happened to those conversations that need to be had? Oh, the police union is fighting it. We need to be, we're about to embark on a very, very slippery slope. Very slippery slope. So why are they doing it now? Why are they doing it in this lame duck session? Like I said, they have a defector. And since they have a defector, they need to make up for that. Because here's how the situation goes. Tomorrow they're going to vote on this. And it's probably going to pass 8-4. Then the mayor is going to veto it. Then they have 5 days from that veto to override his veto. And they need 8 votes to do so. So they need 8 votes to override him. Which they will have right now, even with a defector. So if Crystal Blake, which I swear to God, I will praise her. If she defects and says no tomorrow night, they will still have Chad Cardillo to take her place in overriding the veto. That's why they're trying to do it now. Because they know if they get Ray Orlett on the council and Crystal Blake defects, this thing burns to the ground. And they're not willing to take that chance. They're not willing. So they're going to jam this down your throat. Because remember, I believe elections do matter. Therefore, there should be nothing done before December 6th. But that's not how this council rolls. This is not how this majority leader rolls. And like I said, I read you the email she sent to her supporters. She is begging for outside help to get their asses in here tomorrow night. To sit there and push this. And I can only imagine who's coming. I'm sure you'll have your normals. I'm sure the NAACP will be there. I'm sure your crazy left-wing liberals will be there. We need to be there. We need to be there in strength tomorrow night. And everybody needs to go up to that podium and speak and say, no, we are not for this. Because we know what you're trying to do. You are trying to handcuff our police department. And we will not let this happen. It is very, very sad times we live in. But again, Democrats on this city council know that we have a lot of uninformed people in this city. We do. We have a lot of uninformed people and a lot of sheep in this city that just go and vote because they have a D next to their name. Who is it to say, I don't support you. I support the police. I don't support you. Well, you're a fucking idiot. Because if you knew anything about what was going on, you could never utter those words. Ever. Ever. I have told you what they're going to do, and they have done everything I've said. But remember, because I say it in a mean way, and Democrats sit there and say, no, you can't trust Joe Vollano. The young lady put it in print after the election. Well, no, it wasn't your message. It was who's delivering the message. It was who delivered the message. Because they're controversial, we can't believe them. We can't trust them. So therefore, anything he says, we can't go with. How friggin' stupid is that? That is a stupid, uninformed voter who does not deserve the right and the privilege to vote, to be completely honest. Really, I wish there was a test for voters before they voted. It is absolute lunacy going on in this city right now. But a lot of those sheep who probably listened to this show went and voted because they had a D next to their name, knowing what we talked about this whole time. That's sad. That's really, really sad. And really, you should be ashamed of yourself. If that's how you vote and that's how you think of it, you should be really ashamed of yourself. Because you are putting this city at risk. You are putting our police department at risk. Listen, we're going to be losing. We're going to lose a lot of police officers. No doubt. Police and fire, they are gone come next year. And then what are they going to do? Who are they going to blame? You think we have a crisis right now at emergency dispatch, which, hey, listen, they don't give a shit about. They do not care what's going on over at dispatch. That's why we have a huge problem at dispatch that's never going to be fixed right now. Oh, they've been offered to do ride-along. They just don't take that offer. They don't need to. They listen to their other people. We're going to be talking a lot about the dispatch center. I can see over the next couple months because still nothing is being done over there. It is absolute lunacy. And I'm hoping that every single Democrat councilor is listening to this show tonight. You have an obligation to the voters, to delay this vote until December 6th at least. You have an obligation to hold off on this vote until the rightful council that was elected by the people is put in place. That's what should be happening right now. And we're going to see where these Democrats stand. But see, they're hoping again that voters have short memories. And they'll forget all about this. And the sad thing is, they're normally right. Because voters do have very, very short memories in the city. They lied to our faces. They lied. Sonia Jelks lied to the citizens of Meriden. And she's going to get away with it, as she always does. And she knows it. That's why they're so freaking cocky and they think they can do whatever they want. That's why she was able to blind CC NAACP, the Record Journal, on privileged information. And nobody do a thing about it. Why wouldn't she think she's untouchable? Why wouldn't she think she could do whatever the hell she wanted? The voters gave her that ability. And now we must fight against it. We must fight against it. We are the only thing standing in her way. We are the only thing standing in her way. Now the question is, are we going to be able to get enough people out there to fight against it? Against the weak ones? Or even the ones that care about what the public thinks? Everybody must show up tomorrow night. Everybody must show up at Lincoln Middle School tomorrow night for 6:30. And show your support for our police department. I'm pissed I only have 3 minutes. I only have 3 minutes. We all each have 3 minutes. But this is an absolute disgrace on what's going on. And I wish I had that video of Chad Cardillo on election night. And there's a video out there. We're going to find it. But unfortunately, it's going to be too late before this meeting. It's crazy. Larry, we could talk about the guy payout. And we got plenty of time to be talking about the guy payout. Because there's a lot of stuff coming out on the whole Guy Scaife thing. But unfortunately, the CRB right now takes precedence over everything. Because that is a direct assault on our police department. And our city councils, for any of those who think that they're not taking strict shots at our police department, has not been paying attention. We'll live stream it tomorrow night too. But we need people there. We need people at the meeting tomorrow night. Do what you need to do to get there. It is go time right now. And tomorrow night is it. We need to make sure we show up in force. Let your friends know, let your neighbors know that they need to be at that meeting tomorrow night. Or we're going to end up like Hartford and New Haven. And that's not us. That's not us. They're trying to get this passed on a false narrative that we have a use of force problem in this city. That our police department does not properly do their job. Our counselors are afraid of the retaliation from our police department. It is ridiculous. And I tell you what, I hope the people at her that she sent that email out to, I hope you show up. Because I'll have that conversation with you guys, on or off camera. We can have this conversation. Because you're not here to have a conversation. The funny thing is, I've offered this show many a times for these organizations to come in here and talk. Not a single one of them has taken up that opportunity. Because they don't want to talk. It's not about anything other than power. Power and control. That's what they're after. That's what they're after. They're after power and control of our police department. And how disciplinary actions are dealt out. That's what this is all about. And like I said, this is only the first step. After that, they broaden their horizons on what they could review. And then they then they go even more. And then they say, okay, well, we need to have subpoena powers. So this council will sit there and give them subpoena powers. And next thing you know, they're asking the finance department for $100,000 plus to run this as a full-time operation. Next thing you know, we end up like Hartford. That's what we're up against. They want our police to be impotent on what they can do. They don't want them to be able to do anything. Has anyone seen the new mayor of New York? The new mayor of New York is a former police officer of 35 years. And he won. He won the mayorship by saying that he's going to stop the crime in the city. He's basically going back to Rudy Giuliani. Now, this is a black man who's doing this. And Black Lives Matter is up, and they're having a friggin' fit. Black Lives Matter is going nuts. But I've been telling you for how long? For over a year. Even before this show, what Black Lives Matter is all about. And people are telling me, why are you always picking on Black Lives Matter for? Because I know their true intention. It's not to help the black community. Never has been. Never has been. Ask them where their tens of millions of dollars have gone. Certainly hasn't gone to the inner cities. They care about control. They want to do what they want to do. How they want to do it. And anyone who says otherwise, well, this is what's going to happen to you.
If they think that they're going to go back to the old ways of policing, then we're going to take to the streets again. There will be riots, there will be fire, and there will be bloodshed.
Leaders of
there will be riots, there will be fires, there will be bloodshed. That's Black Lives Matter right there. That is Hank Newsom, the founder of Black Lives Matter in New York. If you try to fight crime, by bringing back the anti-crime division, we are going to riot, we are going to cause fires, and we're going to have bloodshed. Really? Really? And you're not going to be a Gestapo. That's what they call our police department. Everything you're hearing here is exactly the same rhetoric that's going to be coming from this freaking police department, from city council. This is what they believe. This is what they believe in. They're all about Black Lives Matter. Sonia Jelks, LaRue Graham, Tomasetti, they're all for these people. They love it. They love it. Because if anyone remembers a line, whereas Black Lives Matter is in the resolution. These are the people they're talking about. This is the organization they're talking about that they align themselves with. But he wasn't done. Here's more.
Next year.
So there's no way that we're going to let some Gestapo come in here and harm our people, right? We pray for peace, but Black Opportunities prepares for the worst.
So the police department is now the Gestapo. They're trying to come in there and save people's lives. New York is out of control. And they're the Gestapos coming in there trying to fix it? Are you kidding me? This is how these people think. Because it's the police department, no, they're automatically bad. They can't come in here. These are like I said, these social justice warriors, this is who they are. This is how they think. This new mayor is trying to save lives. They're trying to save lives. And this is the kind of response they get from Black Lives Matter. And if they can't stop the police that way, well, they have other ways. Hold on.
We have people in city council who can create problems for him. We have people in the streets who can create problems for this administration by shutting it down.
Okay. And again, the police chief should take complete notice of this. The police chief should be fully aware of this. They do obviously have people in the city council that could take care of this. And if that doesn't work, Sonia Jelks just told you, it's in her friggin' email. She'll reach to the outside groups. She'll go outside. If she can't get what she wants from the people here in Meriden and from the police chief himself, she'll go outside the city of Meriden to make sure. She'll go outside of Meriden and make sure that they get people in here who think like her to force it more down your throat. That's who these people are. He just said it out loud. Where Sonia Jelks is scared of shit to sit there and say it out loud. She's the biggest coward of them all. And like I said, anyone on this Democratic council who votes for this, that's what you're voting for. That's what you're aligning yourself with. Is that really where you stand? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. in 23 hours. We're going to find out. Because apparently the people's vote in this city doesn't mean shit to them. Doesn't. They don't care. They could care less. They're going to do what they want to do. And since the people spoke and said no, they have to force this down our throats in the last hour. And that's what's going to happen tomorrow night. I'm going to bring my son tomorrow because he needs to see this. He needs to see it. Listen, the kids, if you have kids that are old enough, they need to see this. They truly do. Teach our kids this is not what you do. But when faced with it, you rise up, just like the theme song says. Listen, this theme song was not the song. The theme song's opening and closing to this program was picked for a reason. Because together we are more powerful than a hurricane, more louder than a freight train. We are together, not as an individual. And we are the resistance. And together they will hear us. But again, it's not about I or me. It's about us. It's about us and what we're willing to do to protect our city and protect our police department. And that's by us showing up tomorrow. That's by us showing up. If we don't show up, we have no one to blame but ourselves. Because it's going to be quite sad if outside groups from outside the city outnumber the people that are here, that live in the city. That will be a travesty. And it will be another example to this council that they could do whatever the frig they want, any time they want, with no repercussions. That's what it means. So make sure you are there tomorrow night. Because there are two other things I do want to get to tonight that I think are extremely important, that I wanted to touch base on Thursday because of an email I got. And the email that I got was in regards to what's going on in the country and what's going on in the world. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to touch base on. One is our standing on the world stage. Because I think it is important, especially as we're getting through this city stuff. And we need to sit there and really look at what's going on in the world around us. And what's going on with our commander-in-chief, even though, listen, even if he is falling asleep at conferences, at climate change conferences, I still rather have him in there than the other crazy one. Nobody wants to see a Harris administration. So, but what we were looking at, if anyone has not been paying attention, it looks like Russia, our good friends in Russia, are going to invade the Ukraine again. Now, does anybody remember what happened with Ukraine back in 2000, about 2009, 2010? When Russia invaded Crimea, and basically Obama just let him run. And then Trump came in. Everything was good. Everything was gone. They were gone. And now Biden comes in. And right back to the same old stuff, they're going back again. Is this world a much safer place with Biden rather than Trump? The answer is no. You know, Reagan always said it best. Peace through strength. When you're dealing with a madman, you have to show that you have the strength and you're capable of flexing that strength that you do have. But right now, there are 100,000 troops sitting on the Ukraine border. And they're going to invade. They're going to invade. And it's going to happen at any time now. People don't fear Joe Biden. Why would it? Why would they? Everything he said gives them no reason to do so. But you have a lot of these. You have North Korea launching missiles again. Does anyone think that this does not have an impact? Of course it does. Because they're seeing how far they can get away with it, how much they can get away with. They're trying to find out how much they're going to get away with. As far as Iran, Denise, Israel's going to take care of that. Israel's going to have to take care of that. Because it's already been noted that the Biden administration is not going to do anything with Iran. Right? Trump was supposed to start World War III. And he solved the problems in the Middle East. He was solving the problems in the Middle East. Hell, they had peace agreements with the United Emirates, with Egypt. Peace agreements with Israel. There is finally going to be peace in the Middle East. And here comes good old Joe Biden, putting a scrap to that. And this world is now on the brink of war again. Why? Because Putin could. Because Putin could just walk on in. And Ukraine could do nothing about it. They could do nothing about it. Anyone who thinks Ukraine could do anything to stop them is crazy. They can't. And Biden administration has already made it perfectly clear that they're not going to do anything about it. They'll sit there and they'll say harsh words and they'll say, oh, they shouldn't be doing this and that, but no, nothing will be done about it. And while we're all focused on that, because trust me, that will be the distraction. That will be the distraction. While that's happening over there, and every news channel is sitting there covering it, hyperinflation is happening over here. I posted something on my Facebook page a couple of days ago. And I don't know if how many people saw it or not, but I put it in. I went out and found the graphs for it. 40%, because everyone's wondering why all prices are spiking. What's going on? And then we talked about it briefly here during the campaign because we were more dealing with campaign stuff about inflation and hyperinflation that's on its way, and why gas prices are so high, oil prices are so high, and food prices are so high. You have shortages here, shortages there. This is why. If anyone did not know, this graph here is the money that's in circulation right now. If you look at 2020, for the last 15 months, over 40% of all the money ever printed has been printed in the last 15 months. Now think about that. From 1770 to now, 275 years, 40% of every dollar that is in circulation today was printed over the last 15 months. Is anyone really wondering why there's inflation? My question is, why is it so low of inflation? 6.2%. 6.2% is not a high inflation rate. It may be the highest since 1990. It really, if you look at it, if you look at this map here, I don't want to get really too much into these. I mean, this is for like the economic geeks like myself who like to look at these numbers, who, you've added $3 trillion, $3.6 trillion. $3.6 trillion in less than a year and a half. Inflation should be more like 11% right now. 11%. We should be thanking our lucky stars right now that's only at 6.2. I don't know how well you guys can see those numbers on the screen. But you should be looking at the M1, that M1 number. That is all the money that is circulating right now in the currency. That's all of it. $19.8 trillion right now. We were at 16.2 back in May of last year. I won't get into the M2 numbers and all that kind of stuff and what that details. That's basically just saying that, what M1, real quick, I'll give you a broad thing on it. M1 is just your currency, your traveler's checks, and your demand deposits. And that's basically your checking accounts. That's what's composed of M1s. When you talk about M2s, which you always see is higher, because that's your savings accounts added to it and your money market accounts and all your investments and stuff. So, but like I said, I won't get into the details of that because that's just boring stuff that nobody really wants to pay attention to. But the fact is, we can't be sitting there talking about, nobody wants to talk about the inflation. Inflation is what's going to kill this economy even more. And that is on the horizon very, very soon. We have not seen the end of it. We should be, like I said, with the money that's out there now. And remember, we have $1.2 trillion more coming tomorrow. We got $1.2 trillion that's going to be signed into law tomorrow on the infrastructure bill. It's going to get a hell of a lot worse. So again, when Russia invades Crimea, do not be distracted on what's going on here at home. No matter how much they try to distract you, pay attention to what's going on here. Like I said, we are living some very, very crazy times. And what happens over the next couple of years, is going to determine what kind of world, what kind of country we leave for our children and our grandchildren. We are on the brink of financial collapse in this country. We had a show, I believe it was about 2 months ago. And I was talking about, we were talking about the world dollar. The dollar is what's the standard across the world. And I said during that time that I believe in 10 years, the Chinese yuan was going to take over. If we keep going the way we're doing now, I'm revising that prediction to say 5 years. 5 years. China will take over as the new world currency. And that will take our dollar and sink it into the ground. That will be the end of economic growth here in the States. Mark my words. There is way too much money in circulation. And the thing is, there's nothing to buy it with. Supplies are low. So that causes even more problems. If you're not spending your money, so if you get money from stimulus packages and you hoard it, that just causes inflation to go even higher. It causes it to go even higher because that's not circulating out in the public. So now all this money is just sitting there. And there's nothing being produced. It's simple supply and demand. We are living in crazy times. I keep saying it. Who's paying attention though? And we're going to get into more of this over the next month or so because we need to discuss it. We have, believe it or not, we're going to be talking about elections again. And the midterm elections, which is going to mean a lot. Listen, Republican, like I said, I understand the city of Meriden. We look at it and, we see how things happen here in the city. But around this state, Republicans did amazing. Around this country, Republicans had an amazing night on election night. We might not have seen it here in Meriden, even though we do have the great new councilman-elect Ray Olette going to be joining the city council. And congratulations to him. But Republicans did extremely well across this country. And that gives me a little bit of comfort on what's to come. Will we see it more on the state level here in Connecticut? I hope so. We'll find out. But a lot of Republicans made a lot of ground in this state this last election. So we'll keep up the fight. We need to. Because without us, if we don't keep up the fight, no one else is going to do it. So, like I said, we're back to our one show a week. I know during elections we did a show on Sundays and Thursdays. Shows will only be on Sundays for now. If we need to do a show during the week, I'll try to squeeze one in. We'll see as things come up. If we need to do an emergency show, I'll try to give you guys a night's notice. We'll see what's going on. But but going forward now, we'll do one show a week, and that'll be Sunday nights at 6. So at 7. Sunday nights at 7. Same as it's always been. So we'll be doing our Sunday shows. Obviously, Thursday is going to be off since I'll be back to playing hockey. So I will see you guys next Sunday, but I will try to update the Straight Talk with Joe Vollano page throughout the week with things that are going on, and we'll probably have a wrap up session. I'll probably do a quick little minute or 2 minute video, and I'll share it probably on Tuesday, talking about what happened on Monday night. But until then, guys, tomorrow night, 6:30. Lincoln Middle School. Make sure you show up. If I don't see you guys there, I don't want to hear any of you bitching on here. If you don't show up, do not come on here bitching, because you will be called out. We're not playing these games. I love you all. And listen to this theme song, because this is us. It's us to a T. But only if we stick together. I love you. God bless you. God bless this great city. God bless our great police department. And as always, God bless the United States of America. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.
made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise. Oh, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise. Oh, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic, static. Call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise. Oh, it's our resistance. You can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping in the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise. Oh, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise. Oh, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic, static. Call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise. Oh, it's our resistance. You can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up, we're rising up, rising up, we're rising up. This is how we rise. Oh, it's our resistance. You can't resist.